In our last short film, 4 scenes out of 6 were shot without adding any lighting at all. So how can we make the most of the light that we already have? On the first day of the shoot, we arrived at the Red Rose Tandoori takeaway, all set to rig a bunch of lights for the scene. But JP, our cinematographer, noticed there was a light fixture that actually was in a really good position for a key light. So he suggested that we could actually shoot the scene using available light. So that's exactly what we decided to do, but there was still a lot of work to be done. First, we got the windows blocked off using black card, since they were completely flooding the room with light. Then we tried out some different gels on the light to make the foreground warmer than the background, more orange. After changing the white balance on the camera to match the gelled light, that cancelled out the orange and also meant that the background, which was daylight, turned quite blue. Then we removed one of the fluorescent lights in the kitchen, which meant that, except for a couple of hot spots, the background was now darker and bluer than the foreground. Separating the foreground or the background through colour or brightness is just one of the many ways that we can add depth to an image. But what if we wanted to go even simpler? What if we didn't want to change anything at all with the lighting? For this scene, we made use of natural sunlight on a cloudy day. If the sun had been in a different position, then this whole section could have been way too bright, or maybe this whole area over here would have been too dark, meaning that we might have needed to rotate the whole scene round and film from a different direction depending on where the sun was. You can actually find out exactly where the sun will be by typing the location into Google Earth, and it'll show you the direction of the sun at the exact time of your shoot. You can even find out what time golden hour will be, when the sun is low in the sky and everything looks kind of magical. But I personally don't think that the sunset look suits every scene. In my opinion, it's best used for that kind of summer's evening, relaxed, playful, beer commercial kind of vibe. And this scene was not about any of those things. It's about a warning, which is why I felt like it would have been a mistake to shoot it with a kind of nice sunset in the background. But that's just my preference. Of course, there are no rules at all when it comes to this kind of stuff. Scene 4 was similar. The sun position was good, providing a nice key light for our main character, and again I wanted that cloudy, muted look. But of course, shooting in natural light, nature doesn't have to follow your shooting schedule. It can change at any point. So we kept having problems where the sun would come out from behind the clouds. We'd wait 15 minutes and then have a mad rush to try and get a take in before the sun came out again. It was really slowing us down, and the sky was only getting clearer and clearer. The pressure was rising because we had another scene to shoot straight after this, so we really couldn't afford to waste time waiting for clouds. Then Anton, our production assistant, which is the lowest ranking job on the set, he suggested, why don't we just move the shoot over a couple of meters that way? And I was like, sorry Anton, we're actually in the middle of... And then I realised where he was pointing. It was a very similar area, but the difference was a massive building that was actually creating a permanent shadow from the sun. If we moved over there, we wouldn't have to wait for cloud cover. We could shoot no matter what. So we went with his idea, and we all moved over a couple of feet. And there were 2 things I learned from that. Firstly, you never know where a good idea is going to come from. And secondly, it's so easy to get bogged down by a problem and trying to fix it. But sometimes the best solution is just to step back, look at your options, and just completely avoid it. Completely avoid the problem. My name's Simon Cade, this has been DSLRguide, and I'll see you next week.